The Kansas City Chiefs entered the 2025 offseason with a bitter taste in their mouths after a 40-22 thrashing by the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl LIX. Despite a stellar 15-2 regular season and a third straight AFC championship, the Chiefs' dreams of a historic three-peat were derailed by a glaring weakness: their offensive line. Exposed in the Super Bowl, the offensive line, particularly at left tackle, failed to protect Patrick Mahomes, who faced relentless pressure and threw 3 turnovers under duress. As the Chiefs gear up for the 2025 season, addressing this critical flaw is paramount to restoring their offensive dominance and reclaiming the Lombardi Trophy. This article dives into the Chiefs' biggest weakness, explores its impact, and outlines a comprehensive plan to fix it. The Chiefs' offensive line struggles were evident throughout the 2024 season, but reached a breaking point in the Super Bowl. According to ESPN, the offensive tackle positions, especially left tackle, were a thorn in their side, with neither Kingsley Suamataia, Wanya Morris, nor veteran signing DJ Humphries able to stabilize the position. The line's inability to protect Mahomes' blindside forced left guard Joe Thuney to shift the tackle, weakening the interior and exacerbating the unit's woes. Pro Football Focus Puff ranked Chiefs' starting left tackle Wanya Morris below average in nearly every offensive line category, while rookie Kingsley Suamataia struggled with penalties and typical first-year growing pains. The numbers tell a stark story. Kansas City's offense amassed 5,570 yards in 2024, the lowest total since 2016, and failed to score more than 30 points in any regular season game, a first for a two-time defending champion since the 1956 Cleveland Browns. Mahomes, who threw 25 interceptions over the past 2 seasons, faced pressure on 35% of his dropbacks in the Super Bowl, per NFL Next Gen stats, significantly higher than his season average. The line's struggles also hampered the run game, with the Chiefs ranking 18th in rushing yards 1,892 and relying heavily on an injury-prone Isaiah Pacheco. Social media sentiment echoed the concern. Posts from fans and analysts, such as at Shea Piper, emphasized that the offensive line, not a lack of weapons, was the primary issue holding back Mahomes and the offense. The Chiefs' simplified passing scheme, necessitated by poor pass protection, limited Mahomes' ability to push the ball downfield, a stark contrast to the explosive offenses of years past. The offensive line's deficiencies have far-reaching consequences for the Chiefs' aspirations. Mahomes, the NFL's premier quarterback, thrives when given time to dissect defenses and extend plays. Without reliable protection, his effectiveness is curtailed, as seen in the Super Bowl, where he completed just 22 of 38 passes for 241 yards, with 3 turnovers. A weak offensive line also disrupts Andy Reid's creative play calling, forcing the team to lean on quick passes and ball control strategies rather than the high-octane, deep-shot offense that defined their earlier Super Bowl runs. Moreover, the Chiefs' 2025 schedule includes formidable opponents like the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, and Detroit Lions, all of whom boast elite pass rushers. Failure to address the offensive line could lead to another postseason disappointment, especially against teams like the Eagles, whose defensive front dominated Kansas City in Super Bowl LIX. With Mahomes still in his prime and Reid's coaching prowess intact, fixing the offensive line is the key to unlocking the Chiefs' full potential and maintaining their status as AFC contenders. To address their offensive line woes, the Chiefs must pursue a multifaceted approach that combines strategic draft picks, targeted free agent signings, and internal development. Below is a detailed roadmap to fortify the unit for 2025. The Chiefs took a significant step toward fixing their offensive line by selecting Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons with the number 32 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Simmons, a 6'5", 317-pound tackle, dominated at both Ohio State and San Diego State, showcasing the size, athleticism, and technique to be a long-term solution at left tackle. Despite a torn patellar tendon that limited him to 6 games in 2024, the Chiefs' medical evaluations confirmed he'll be ready for training camp in July 2025. General Manager Brett Veach views Simmons as a potential difference maker, with coach Andy Reid noting he could compete for the starting left tackle role immediately. The Chiefs signed veteran Jalen Moore to a 2-year, $30 million deal as a stopgap, but Simmons is the clear long-term investment. To maximize Simmons' impact, the Chiefs should fast-track his development. Pair Simmons with offensive line coach Andy Heck for intensive technique work, focusing on footwork and hand placement to counter NFL edge rushers. Leverage Thuney's versatility. Keep Joe Thuney at left guard to anchor the interior and provide mentorship, allowing Simmons to focus solely on tackle responsibilities. Monitor his recovery. Ensure Simmons' knee rehabilitation stays on track, with limited preseason reps to preserve his health for the regular season. Simmons' college highlights, which include stonewalling top Big Ten pass rushers, suggest he can stabilize the left tackle spot if he adapts quickly to the NFL. With just $11.5 million in cap space, the Chiefs must be judicious in free agency. High-profile tackles like Morgan Moses or Ronnie Stanley are likely out of reach, but cost-effective veterans with upside are viable options. CBSports.com suggested former Browns first-round pick Jedrick Wills Jr., who could be signed to a team-friendly deal due to his injury history, no full season since 2022. Veteran Tyron Smith, despite age and injury concerns, is another low-cost option who could serve as a bridge while Simmons develops. Additionally, the Chiefs should prioritize re-signing right guard Trey Smith, a core player set to hit free agency. Described as one of the NFL's top guards, Smith pairs with All-Pro center Creed Humphrey to form a formidable interior. Securing Smith with a multi-year extension, potentially backloaded to manage 2025 cap constraints, is critical to maintaining continuity. Recommended free agency moves. Sign Jedrick Wills Jr. Target a 1-year, $8 million deal with incentives, providing depth and competition at tackle. Extend Trey Smith. Offer a 4-year, $60 million contract with $25 million guaranteed, locking in a cornerstone guard. Add a swing tackle. Pursue a veteran like Cam Irving or Cornelius Lucas for $2 minus $3 million to bolster depth and mentor younger players. The Chiefs have several developmental prospects who could contribute in 2025. Kingsley Suamataia, a 2024 second-round pick, struggled as a rookie but possesses the athleticism to rebound. Hunter Nourzad and Mike Caliendo, both interior linemen, also showed promise in limited action. To integrate these players effectively, reposition Suamataia. Move Suamataia to right tackle or swing tackle to reduce pressure while he refines his technique. His 54 career penalties per puff highlight a need for coaching on discipline. Expand Nourzad and Caliendo's roles. Use both in jumbo packages or as rotational guards, allowing them to gain experience without exposing them to high-stakes situations. Invest in coaching. retain Andy Heck and consider hiring a consultant like former NFL tackle Joe Thomas to work with young linemen during the offseason. While personnel changes are critical, Andy Reid and offensive coordinator Matt Nagy can mitigate the offensive line's weaknesses through schematic tweaks. Ex-user at Seep Stallion suggested using more bootlegs, rollouts, and quick game concepts to negate pass rushers, along with increased motion and run-pass options (RPOs). These adjustments align with Mahomes' mobility and Reed's play calling strengths. Specific strategies include quick passing game, emphasize slants, screens, and swing passes to Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals, reducing the time Mahomes holds the ball. Royals' YAC ability top 12 among draft-eligible receivers in 2024 makes him ideal for this role. Chip blocking. Use tight ends Travis Kelce and Noah Gray to chip edge rushers, as suggested by at Seep Stallions, giving tackles like Simmons extra support. Max protection. Deploy 6 or 7-man protections in obvious passing situations, sacrificing a receiver to ensure Mahomes has time to find deep targets like Hollywood Brown. Run game variety. Incorporate more pin/pull concepts and jet sweeps. Leveraging the speed of rookie running back Brashard Smith's 4.39-second 40-yard dash to keep defenses off balance. The Chiefs' offensive line development is also hindered by subpar facilities and support staff, as highlighted in the NFLP's 2025 report card. Players ranked the training room 30th out of 32 teams, citing understaffing and outdated equipment. And the locker room remains a top complaint due to unfulfilled renovation promises. These issues can affect player recovery and preparation, indirectly impacting performance. To address this, upgrade the training room, hire additional athletic trainers, and invest in modern recovery equipment, such as cryotherapy chambers and massage guns, to keep linemen healthy. Renovate facilities. Follow through on locker room upgrades, as promised since 2022, to boost morale and demonstrate owner Clark Hunt's commitment to players. Enhance nutrition. Build on the hiring of a new full-time dietitian, graded A in 2025, by offering more individualized meal plans tailored to linemen's size and energy demands. Fixing the offensive line won't be without hurdles. Simmons' recovery from his knee injury carries some risk, and if he's not ready by week 1, the Chiefs may rely on Jalen Moore or Wills, both of whom have durability concerns. The team's limited cap space restricts their ability to sign multiple high-profile free agents, forcing Veach to prioritize Smith's extension over other needs like defensive tackle or cornerback depth. Additionally, developing young players like Suamataia and Norzad requires patience, and early season struggles could test Reed's willingness to stick with them. The potential departure of defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, a head coaching candidate, could also shift focus to defensive needs, diverting resources from the offensive line. Finally, the Chiefs' tough 2025 schedule demands quick cohesion, as early losses to teams like the Bills or Ravens could derail momentum. Despite these challenges, the Chiefs are well positioned to address their offensive line weakness. Simmons offers a high upside solution at left tackle, and re-signing Trey Smith ensures stability inside. Cost-effective free agents like Wills or Smith can bridge gaps, while Suamataia and Norzad provide depth and future potential. Reed's schematic adjustments, combined with Mahomes' improvisational brilliance, can mask early growing pains, and facility upgrades will support player health and morale. The Chiefs' 2024 season proved they can win without an elite offense, relying on a stout defense fourth in scoring defense at 19.2 points per game and clutch performances. However, to compete with the NFL's best, like the Eagles who expose their flaws, the offensive line must evolve from a liability to a strength. By investing in Simmons, prioritizing Smith, and blending veterans with young talent, Kansas City can protect Mahomes, restore their offensive explosiveness, and position themselves for a deep 2025 playoff run. The Kansas City Chiefs' offensive line was their Achilles heel in 2024, costing them a historic three-peat and exposing vulnerabilities that must be addressed for 2025. With Josh Simmons as the cornerstone, strategic free agent signings, and a renewed focus on development and facilities, the Chiefs can transform their biggest weakness into a competitive advantage. Mahomes, Reed, and the Chiefs fan base deserve an offensive line that matches their championship pedigree. By executing this plan, Kansas City can reclaim their place atop the NFL and chase that elusive third Super Bowl title in 4 years. The Kansas City Chiefs are sitting atop the NFL once again, defending their Super Bowl title and boasting arguably the best quarterback coach duo in the league. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid continue to set the standard for offensive innovation and late game brilliance. But even the mightiest have their vulnerabilities, and if Kansas City hopes to extend their dynasty, they'll need to confront one glaring issue head on. Despite winning it all, the Chiefs' 2024 season exposed a real problem: the inconsistency and at times the outright unreliability of their wide receiver core. Drops, miscommunications, and lack of separation plagued the offense in key moments. Mahomes' excellence and Travis Kelce's heroics often masked it. But against tougher defenses, especially in the playoffs, the cracks showed. In short, Mahomes had to work too hard to make magic happen. Without a consistent wide-out threat to stretch the field, defenses crowded the short zones, doubling Kelce and forcing Mahomes into improvisation mode far too often. Stat to know, the Chiefs led the NFL in drop passes during the 2023 regular season. And no, that's not a stat you want associated with your team. Players like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore had their moments, but also had costly mistakes at critical times. Rookie Rishi Rice emerged as a bright spot, but relying on a first-year player to carry the load wasn't part of the initial plan. The Chiefs' offense is designed around timing, precision, and Mahomes' ability to manipulate defenses pre and post snap. When receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, or if they struggle to win their matchups, the entire rhythm of the offense breaks down. Without trustworthy wideouts, defenses can focus even more resources on Kelce. The deep ball becomes less of a weapon. Mahomes is forced to scramble instead of operating in rhythm. Red zone efficiency drops, especially when space tightens. Against the elite playoff teams with strong secondaries, think Baltimore, San Francisco, Buffalo, these weaknesses get magnified. Andy Reid and GM Brett Veach aren't blind to the issue. Here's what Kansas City must do and is starting to do to fix their biggest flaw. A veteran wide receiver with reliable hands is a must. Someone who knows how to sit in zones, win contested catches, and bring maturity to the locker room. Potential targets could include DeAndre Hopkins, depending on salary cap gymnastics, T. Higgins, if available via trade, Mike Evans, if Tampa Bay ever decides to reset, adding an experienced, sure-handed wideout would immediately alleviate pressure on Mahomes and Kelce and give the Chiefs a reliable chain mover. Key: it's not just about speed, it's about trust. The Chiefs need to prioritize wide receiver early in the draft and pick players who fit their system. Profiles to target: route technicians with high football IQ, players who excel after the catch, YEC monsters, wideouts with proven hands under pressure. College playoff experience is a bonus. Names like Romo Duns, Xavier Worthy, or Keon Coleman could be in their sights depending on draft position. Kansas City doesn't need a developmental project. They need someone who can contribute right away. Rashee Rice was a breakout story late last season. He showed toughness, YEC ability, and real chemistry with Mahomes. Now, the Chiefs must lean into his development. That means giving him a full offseason of work with Mahomes, expanding his route tree, building packages that put him in position to thrive: screens, slants, seam routes. If Rice takes a year to leap into a legit WR1 or high-end WR2, it would be a massive boost. It's harsh, but true. Some players have to go. If wideouts consistently drop passes, misread coverages, or create trust issues, Kansas City must be ruthless. Whether it's Tony, Moore, or Valdez Scantling, the Chiefs cannot afford to carry passengers if they want to maximize the Mahomes window. While the Chiefs' offense is already brilliant, a few tweaks could help cover up receiver flaws. More two tight end sets to create mismatches, increased use of running backs in the passing game, heavier motion to generate easier releases off the line. Andy Reid is the master of innovation, and if the personnel isn't ideal, expect him to tailor the scheme accordingly. The Kansas City Chiefs are too talented, too well coached, and too driven to be undone by one weakness. But in the modern NFL, you can't win consistently without reliable wide receiver play, even with Patrick Mahomes performing miracles. The blueprint is clear: add a veteran, draft smart, develop their young talent, and cut ties with liabilities. If the Chiefs fix the wide receiver room, they'll be well positioned to keep the dynasty alive and make history once again. One thing's for sure: as long as Mahomes is under center, every problem has a solution. It's just up to Kansas City to find it.